attack. Number 2, Evo's on, and Evo brings out idiots. So I thought the best thing to do. Yeah. Oh man, you stole my fucking punchline. But yeah, that's it. I thought Evo brings out idiots and stupid opinions, and I thought this would be a brilliant time to. Nah, it wasn't even like that. That's not the reason I got 10 on. We was gonna play some Dragon Ball, and I said, "Oh, I'm gonna do a podcast," and I said, "Do you want to jump in?" He said, "Yeah." So there was literally no planning whatsoever.
But it's also to obviously coincide with the stupid opinions. I'm also here to warrant more stupid opinions. So
to be fair, if you disagree with these stupid opinions, there needs to be a new category of stupid.
I like that.
I need to think of a word. What could, if you're stupid, if capitals, hyphens, fucking all sorts, question marks.
Well, if someone's stupid exceeds my stupid,
ignoramus.
Then just call them 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, ignoramus.
10 out of 10 on the stupid scale.
Okay, well, cool. We'll go with that. 10 out of 10. Just 10 out of 10, and then they can.
Just 10 out of 10. People will know what that means.
Yeah. Okay. If the shoe fits, then you know. So anyway, yeah, we're gonna just talk about some. I'm gonna bring up some points. I know 10's got some points. He spoke about it a little bit before we started streaming about people kind of being dumb about tournaments,
being idiots. Yes.
Yeah, it's mostly going to revolve around tournaments. People, complaining, airing their opinion when no one actually cares. People feeling entitled. I want to start because I've got like 2, and I know you've definitely got 1. So let me start with the one.
Yeah, go on. Yeah.
That basically
let the burials begin.
Let the burial grounds. Okay, the first one is I didn't tell you about this. You probably don't know, but shout outs to a man like Ikesy, Jet. He's at Evo. We're recording this on Saturday, the second day, and basically something happened to Jet where he won a match, and in the bracket he said he lost. So yeah, so the TO fucked up because the person who he played said that he lost. So it wasn't that the person he played snaked him and went to the TO and went, "Oh, I won." The person
the guy in charge of the bracket didn't do his research and dogged Axie, yeah?
This is what I'm assuming. I don't know. Maybe he did it accidentally. I don't know. He was using Smash GG. Either way, I don't know if it's a TO or whoever. Maybe it was a third party. Maybe the person who lost the Ikesies told someone else and the other person got it wrong, told the TO, whatever. But either way, the result wasn't fact. So Ikesy got put into losers. Within an hour, the guy said, "Oh, I'll sort it." One of the TOs. But there's a lot of people complaining within the hour because he tweeted it. So he didn't find a person. I actually tweeted it, and he added him in the tweet. So for me, shout out to that TO because if he's running maybe not shout outs, maybe
if he's running the tournament and checking out his Twitter at the same time, that guy has 4 sets of eyes.
That's what I'm saying. Either that's godlike, and yeah, he's got his third eye open. Or he's not doing his job because he's clearly meant to be running brackets when he's on Twitter. I don't know. But within an hour of Jet making this announcement that he got put into losers when he won, someone said, "We'll sort this out." And I'm guessing it's one of the TOs. But it's the fact that everyone's jumping on it and being like, "Oh my God, this is so shit." And it's like, look, this is a fucking tournament. This isn't the first tournament that this has happened. And it won't be the last. Yeah. And there was like a WhatsApp group and everyone's moaning. I'm not going to call names. I was speaking in general, but it's just like, before you start fucking cussing TOs, think about the scale of Evo. There's 20 plus games.
And the situation.
Yeah, and the situation. It's fucking massive. Like, their pools are so big. I think people have to qualify for pools to go into another pool because it's like over 1,000 players.
12, 16 pools, and every pool has like 60 or so players in.
Something stupid, some silly number, very silly number, because there's more than 1,000 entries. So, for one thing to go wrong so far, because like I said, that was on day 1, I don't think that's that bad. Like, considering...
I don't think it's that bad.
These people that are helping with the tournaments, I'm going to go 99% with that they're not getting paid. So they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They're giving up their time to help the tournament. They made a mistake.
Probably just free entry, right? Probably just free entry, probably.
Yeah, exactly. So they'll get a perk. They'll get a perk, but they're not getting physical cash for helping run this massive event.
And they won't be able to play either, I assume. They're not going to be able to sit there and play in tournament because they're going to be too busy.
Exactly. They're going to get people shouting at them 2-1 for like literally 8 hours. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's that fun.
That's a fucking job, mate. That's a job.
So it kind of bugs me. And a good thing that you're on is that you've obviously started to do tournament organising. So you can see it from the other's perspective when, mistakes happen. It's like, my example was when you practice a combo in Teemo and then you do it 100 times a match, when you drop it, does it give us the right to say you're waste? You're not doing your job properly.
Exactly. Yeah,
like, you can practice all you want, but there's always going to be a mistake. And with that amount of people, there's got to be what? For Street Fighter and DBZ alone, there was more than 2,000 people.
Like, 2,000, at least 2,000 people. At least.
Yes, at least. So, if there's only one mistake so far, I personally don't think it's that bad. And I'm someone else who's from the other side, where it's like, running tournaments isn't easy. Especially when you've got that I've run like GG tournaments, like 50 people, and it's quite difficult.
Yeah. But dude, definitely. I've been there, and you know what? Like, in terms of the mistakes that a tournament like Evo has done, like, there have been a lot worse, and we should just be not necessarily thankful, but we should just be glad that it's not on a catastrophic level of fuck up, if you know what I mean, right? Like, there was one year where basically Evo was running Ultimate Marvel 3 2 out of 3 in the format, where it should have been 3 out of 5, right?
Yeah.
And one player that this affected, because his bracket was really early on, was Zach Bennett, right? Zach Bennett played in one of the really early pools, and he had to play 2 out of 3. And then after they found out that they were doing it 2 out of 3, and the Marvel players was like, well, what's going on? It should be 3 out of 5. They did 3 out of 5, but they didn't replay those pools. So certain man got dogged in that tournament.
That's a skank. That is a skank. That is a skank.
Of immense levels. Yeah. Immense levels, yeah. So first of all, we should be happy that it's not on a catastrophic level like that, where it's like a bracket has been entirely fucked, or like formatting's been fucked, or like people have like broken rules, basically. Like, there's been a bit of it's not necessarily a breakage of rules, it's just like the lack of communication, right? And the thing with lack of communication is that it boils down to the player as well, right? In my opinion, I think Jet atting the TO to get it done is probably the least amount of work that he could have done to actually resolve the situation. Like, don't get me wrong, at him as well while you look for mans, but you should be on a headhunt. You should be like, look, I got dogged. I'd be looking for the player. I'd be like, the player that he played against. I'd be like gathering evidence like Phoenix, right, to get in there and to be like, yo, I got dogged. I won. This guy's here to prove that I won. These guys saw this match or whatever, right? And I want to get put back into winners. Yeah. So I think as a communication issue, which is clearly what it is, I think it's as much of a fault as a player as it is the TO. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you win, it's up to you to go up to that guy and say, look, I won. Yeah. If you start playing Chinese whispers, then who knows what's gonna happen, mate? His fucking dog's girlfriend might have won that match, got put forward to the next side of the bracket. Yeah. So no, it's not entirely Jet's fault, but I think it's partially Jet's fault. I think it's probably partially the guy who's obviously gone up to the TO and said it, and it's probably partially up to the TO's fault that he's not chased us up. But at the same time, he's got a lot on his fucking plate. So I understand the confusion, and at the end of the day, people, I guess, if people want to complain, that's cool, but put yourself in that guy's shoes, put yourself in Jet's shoes. And you'll figure out what needs to be done. The situation is a lot simpler than it needs to be, and he didn't make it simple. This end of, really. Yeah,
I think it's a good point, because it's like I said, I don't know what actually happened. This is I don't know if Jet did tell the guy and he did it wrong or whatever. So
if he told the guy and he got it, and the TO wrote it down as the wrong thing, then obviously he fucked it up. Yeah, he fucked it up. As long as that has been corrected, which I assume it did, then it's blessed. Yeah, it's blessed. Because mistakes happen all the time. I'm going to be honest, I've done it so many times. Like I've done it like 2-3 times where it's happened, and I've been like, oh shit, let me quickly change the fucking score quickly before this next match starts.
Yeah.
So, shit like that happens, basically. And you just have to learn to deal with it and move on. But yeah, that's if he obviously told the bracket dude and was like, you know, he just put it down as the wrong score. If the other person, the loser, went up to that guy and said, "Now I won," and Jet didn't say anything about his win, then that's a fuck up on his part as well, because he should be the one going up there and saying, "Oh, now I won." Even if it's your boy, and it's like your boy comes up to you and says, "Look, you wait here. I'll go and do that." Yeah,
now do
I
yourself.
would probably go. I'd just go with him just in case something goes wrong, in case he gets assassinated or gets jumped. You know. So, yeah, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I basically agree. Like, it is his responsibility. I know a lot of people saying like it's not Jet's job to chase up the results. So people saying like, oh, he's gonna have to go in today, which is the second day, and be like, have you sorted this out? That shouldn't be what Jet has to do. Jet should be just there to play games. That's it.
Yeah.
Even your dog's mad. Your dog is mad, bruv.
He doesn't like the ruling. He agrees with the public. Let Jet go through. It's just Jet's dog's girlfriend.
Put him into 16. Put him into top 16. He deserves it.
He deserves it.
But it was more the people's response. That's what got on my nerves, because it's like, before knowing the whole situation, don't complain. And even when you do, who cares what you kind of think? You're not T.O. and you're not Jet. At the end of the day, I kind of get like we all back Jet and RMZ. Shout out to RMZ as well, because they've gone to overseas.
They're putting work.
Yeah, and obviously there's the Street Fighter guys like Pax and I'm Still the Daddy and whatnot. So shout out to anyone from the UK, when we're gonna back them, but don't mindlessly fucking start making noise without knowing the facts.
I think if it's noise in the sense that, you know, it's like, Jet said that, you know. Because obviously Jet added the guy who was running the brackets, right? So if it's to be like, to alert the guy running the bracket to get him to sort it out, then I can understand. But if it's been fixed and then they're still complaining about it, saying, you know, oh, it shouldn't have happened, this, that, and the third, right? Then you're wasting your breath, because it's been fixed for starters, right? And second thing, you know, you go to a tournament that size and you run the bracket, and you get people playing Chinese whispers on you, and you have to sit there and watch matches, and you've got fucking celebrities trying to like rugby tackle you for commentary positions or whatever, right? So, like, there's so many factors that could happen, right? And the heat, bro. Just imagine, like, you're listening to people chat shit to you for 8 hours in 40 degrees. 40 degrees, like,
it's a bit much.
Bro, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in, right? And you know, things happen. They've been sorted, so you know, just let it go, man. Just Frozen.
Just chill, bro. Sub-Zero.
Just chill. Yeah. No, I meant the song. Let it go.
Oh. I definitely
moving on.
Swift attack, mate. Pikachu, Pikachu. Yeah, go. So yeah, that's one point that I wanted to make about people just you're not helping the situation, so why keep complaining about it? Like, this is a new thing or whatever. Like, if this happened to fucking Billy No Mates 659, no one would make any noise. No one would care. But it's because it's our boy, so sure. Yeah. Obviously, I hope it gets sorted out.
I think people should care if it's Billy No Mates, but
I agree.
People should care up to a certain point. If it's fixed, then who fucking cares? It's done. It's finished, right? But if it's been fixed and they're still complaining, then it's their mums, because you know, it's like there's no point in doing this anymore. You're wasting your own time, and you know, like, you're wasting your battery's time on your phone. Like, just allow it. Like, you could be doing so much more. You could be playing Duel Links or something.
Marvel Puzzle Quest.
Yeah. So, you know, just let it go, man. It's less. Could be worse. Could be getting dogged in the format, like in Marvel 3 in the Marvel 3 days.
You know what? Like, you said that. I kind of want to go into my next point, which means I'm gonna have to pass yours. But we'll do it quickly because it's not a big point.
Go on, no, it's all right. I'm not in a rush.
Basically, a lot of people in Cross Tag have been complaining as well, because that's what they've done. They haven't changed it mid-tournament, but Cross Tag is 2 out of 3. Now, that game is horrendously quick.
3 out of 5.
It's standard. Standard should be 3 out of 5. So what happened is they started late and still finished early because the matches were going so quick. They were struggling. They were struggling to keep games on stream because the games were going so quick. And so a lot of the cross tag players are being like, "This is like the worst. This is absolute bollocks. Like, our
dog
matches,
shit.
people getting skanked because it's 2 out of 3, and the game is
2 out of 3.
unforgiving, bruv. It's so unforgiving. It's ST in anime form.
Jesus.
It's
Jesus.
brutal.
Well,
it's brutal. So yeah, a lot of people moaning.
Back to my previous point, like, you know, and I think the moaning is justified in this point, right? It's like a game like that, right, where matches end in 30, 40 seconds, right? And that's not even an exaggeration here, guys. Like, I've seen it played.
Yeah.
I was sitting there watching Versus Fighting, and I was like, just like astounded as to how fast these games are finishing. Right?
Absolutely.
That game is 3 out of 5. Like, no discussion here, right? Now, there's like obviously a few points to bring up, right? The person who obviously made that judgment on 2 out of 3, I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's the main dude or whatever, right? That guy needs to get thrown under the bus. Yeah, that guy needs to get thrown under the bus, because anyone who could stand there and just, you know, and justify, you know, a lack of research like that, and to still, you know, like I can understand if that format was made really early on when Evo was announced to begin with, but they had like 2 months to look at the game's format evolve, and they should have made the judgment there and then to change it before the tournament started. Now, I am happy that they didn't change it during the tournament, because that is a fuckery, right?
That is a fuckery,
That is a violation, and no one should be going through that. Absolutely, no one should go through that.
But that also shows how flexible they are, because they only changed it because people were upset. They clearly, like you said, the person who was running it, he couldn't have watched more than 4 matches.
Yeah,
You can literally watch one match and go, oh shit, people can die in 2 combos, literally 2 combos. If you get your burst baited, that character could.
It's over.
Yeah, like, because you're not going to get enough bar to burst second time. So you've got one guess, and if you've got one character, it's very hard to come back. That game, literally, like you said, 30 seconds, no exaggeration. So they've clearly not seen a match, and you don't need 2 months to know that game goes quick.
It's surprising as well, because it's not like it's run by one guy anymore. He has a team of at least 10 to 20 people who sit there and look at the format and look at the games. It's a panel, it's like a board, and people sit there and they talk about this type of thing. And the fact that this decision went through to make it 2 out of 3 when it should be 3 out of 5, right? Obviously, huge mistake. But it could be, like, you know, at least they didn't change the format halfway through the tournament and dog mans, because I think if they did that, then they wouldn't even have a leg to stand on. At least now, right? If they said, like, oh, no, we did it this way because we didn't like the other formats, we think that this is more fun for people to watch because people get skanked and we wanted that, then, you know, they could say that. You know, they're allowed to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy that they didn't change the format, because that would have been bad. That would have been pretty bad.
That would have been horrendous. Like you said, with the Marvel, you can't do it mid-match. Like, I think an acceptable middle ground is to be like, okay, top 16 will be free.
Or even round 2, or you know, round 2 of pools, or semi-finals of pools, if that makes any sense, right? To get into top 8, that would have been acceptable. And you know, maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Do we know if they changed the format after the first set of pools? Do you know if that happened?
I don't think they've changed it. From what I know, they haven't changed it. I've only seen people complain, and I haven't seen someone say, "Oh, now they're." I mean, it's not going to help the person who's complaining because he's had his matches, and they're not going to go, "Well, all the old matches, we're going to run it back." Like, there's clearly no time for that. They've obviously gone first of 3, or best out of 3, due to time constraints. But like you said, they've just not done their research. You would know that.
They've just not done it.
Bruv, you can. That game is.
I knew that after 2 hours of watching it.
Silly quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess the solution I came up with, maybe saying top 16 is best out of 5, is sort of a middle ground, maybe. But like you said, you can't do half the pools. Best out of you can't do it that way. That's outrageous.
You'd have to reach a milestone in the tournament as a player to justify the change in the format.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, it's just going to be chaos. Like, people will be looking for heads, like guillotines, like necks on guillotines. Yeah. Fully.
Like, I do agree with this one. People moaning, like, people not even in the tournament. I would feel your pain. Like, if someone said, "Oh yeah, fucking SBO style for Dragon Ball, you got one game," like, I would say this is fucking horrendous. Like, someone needs to talk to these guys. Like, that's just a stupid idea. And if I would have heard that before, maybe I'm a bit upset that people didn't say this before the tournament, or maybe they didn't know. But if I knew this was...
they didn't know, yeah.
Maybe if I knew the format was this before the tournament started, I'll be like, I might just not enter. Yeah, I would say, like, what is the point? We might as well just do coin flips.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point, actually. We don't, it'd be interesting to know when the format was released. Because if it was released a week before, which sometimes it has happened, like, formats get released on the same week that the same week that the tournaments happen, then that's like a huge cock up on the staff's part as well. That's like even more of a cock up.
That is skank. That's a skank. That is a skank. Dandle, man. Skank dandle. Like a week after, clearly they've already paid bare money, because you've got to think most of these players are like flying over there to be like, oh, you might just get skanked in 4 games.
Yeah.
Losers in and out in a game where people breathe 50%. Like, you get 50% damage for picking your character. Like, it's you can't do that, man. Like,
good times.
What is a KOF now? What's the standard? Is it out of...
still 2 out of 3. Still 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3.
In my opinion, that game should be 2 out of 3 all the way up until loser semi and winner semi, obviously. Winners and losers final. Because the thing with that game is that it is long. Like,
yeah, that game is...
We're looking at 10 minutes a set. Honestly, we're looking at 10 minutes a set. If it goes a distance, where it's like you go to your last character, it's 1-1. This is for the last game. You're looking at 10 minutes a set. So that game shouldn't really be 3 out of 5 unless it's like you've got the time to make it 3 out of 5. But it's not necessary because that game is super long. Yeah. But a game like this, game like Marvel Infinite, to an extent, I would also say Dragon Ball FighterZ. I think those games should be considered to be 3 out of 5, depending on where you are. Well, especially depending on where you are in the bracket. If you're far in the bracket, then it should be. But for BlazBlue's sake, it should just be 3 out of 5 all the way through.
Yeah, from the get go. Yeah, I think Dragon Ball's a weird one because it's like, I feel, I mean, I don't like first to 2, best out of 3. I don't like that format, but I understand why, because of the influx of players that play it. Yeah, you kind of just want to get rid of the fluff. So you're like, look, if you're betting this person,
as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It can be very long. It can be a very long, drawn-out game. But I feel the long, drawn-out games are with good players. So at the beginning, do the 2 out of 3. Just
most games.
Yeah, just get out the fluff. Make it 2 out of 3. The better player will just steamroll and get them out. But you can get skanked in 2 games for sure.
Oh,
but
you can.
I think it's a lot harder for a bad player to be a good player out of 2. I feel. I think the good players, they might get their first character blown up, but then just, they'll adapt in 1 game. I think good players adapt in 1 game in Dragon Ball, where in Blaz, you can definitely lose to a bad player. You can definitely lose 2 games to a bad player super quick. Super quick. Before you even check your buttons, you've lost. But Dragon Ball, I think the best way to do it is best out of 5. It may be in Evo's... At an Evo level, I'd say like top 60 something, 64. At a smaller level, top 8, top 16. I feel that there needs to be a best out of 5 later down the line. But at the beginning, just get rid of the dead weight and just do 2 out of 3. Don't waste time showing.
And Marvel Infinite as well. I think Marvel Infinite's a 3 out of 5 in my opinion.
I think
that game should be 3 out of 5.
I think that should be 3 out of 5. Definitely now, because a lot of the mediocre players are just left. So it's only really good players. So it's way more entertaining when you have a long set or a longer set with good players. You don't want to see a best out of 5 with someone who's whack and someone who's really good. Like, that's not entertaining. Shout out to London Savage versus Jet. Like, that was horrible. That was 10 games. I wouldn't want to see a best out of 5 for that. That would literally be a waste of my time. It'd be a waste of my time. Like, shout out to London Savage. Like, he's trying to grind and get good. Like, I respect that. But I would not want to see that tournament. I wouldn't want to see that as a pool match.
That match.
3 out of 5. Yeah, I want that to be 2 out of 3 and just move Jet along. Like, stop wasting our time.
You'd have to call the police. You'd have to get the set. You'd have to get the setup cordoned off. There'd have to be forensics. It'd be very messy.
The yellow tape, white chalk, all on the ground. Like, that's where it was, and it was just drawn out. It was just literally drawn out. So that was the point I wanted to make about cross tag. There's people complaining about that. That one I think is quite quite just. I think they have a right to moan about that.
I think they do. Definitely.
But your one, the one you're going to bring up, I honestly think people just need to dead.
Oh right. Oh, yeah. with Logan Sama on the commentary for Evo, yeah. Obviously people need dead. 110%. Because okay, right. We all know that Logan's a colourful character, yeah?
Oh wait.
Nicely,
You're probably gonna have to describe the scenario.
Oh,
not from
scenario.
The beginning, not right. Like the fucking Logan Sama, origin story. Just like what he's done this time, sort of thing.
Okay, so let me think. So it's basically he picked up he got a job for commentary at Evo. He's there right now as we speak. He's doing the commentary. He didn't get dogged, did he? He didn't get dogged, right? He's still doing his job.
I don't know. I hope he is.
I hope he's doing his job. Well, anyway, he's there regardless, right? Even if he's not doing his job, he's there, right? Now, he shouldn't be getting dogged because basically the scenario is that because of Logan's past exploits, yeah, including getting fired from the BBC when he used to do BBC One Extra. I think that's what he did.
Yeah. They're still bringing that up. That fucking happened years ago.
They're bringing that up. To be fair, it's about a year and a half. About a year and a half.
I mean, that's still tomb raiding. That is grave digging. Just let it go.
Yeah, that's grave digging.
He got fired. Like, what else do you want?
Yeah, and he publicly apologized for getting fired.
Yeah, that's yeah. I think that's the biggest point. Not that he got fired. That he said sorry. Like, what else does he have to do? Fucking make you not act like a prick online. Like, I don't know. But yeah, go on. Sorry.
Anyway, so he's been doing bits on commentary. Obviously, now that he's got, I think he got a new job, but he's been focusing a lot on commentary, and it shows because he's been progressively getting better, right? I actually listened to a bit of his stuff at Versus Fighting, and I thought it was pretty good. And I thought that some of his things that he said were pretty funny. Like, the part where he's like under the stairs in Birth, where all the anime games.
I thought that was hilarious.
I thought that was pretty funny.
Just so people don't think I'm picking sides, I was the guy streaming underneath the stairs. Like that was my section at Versus Fighting. I ran Unial, Guilty, not ran, but I streamed it. So I was there the whole time. And
also another point is that Street Fighter V
was there last year.
Previous Versus Fighting, in the previous year it was underneath the stairs. So he's not doing it out of malice or because he doesn't like anime players. He's doing it because it's funny and he's been in that situation. Right? Yeah.
Like I made a joke, said like we're trolls. We belong. This isn't the stairs. This is the bridge, and the trolls belong underneath the bridge. Like I made that joke. I was like, we're near the toilets for a reason.
For a reason, the sewage.
Yeah, like this is where we belong because I've got my own beef with like anime players. But yeah, like just so people don't think I'm picking sides, I'm not Logan's biggest fan. We're not like boys. We don't like hug when we see each other and shit. But it's part of the point it being Logan. It's about an individual being fucking crucified for something that wasn't that bad.
Well, not necessarily bad, but what's been and gone. Like, I can understand if it's oh sorry, we didn't even finish the point. So basically the point was, right, we kind of digressed a little bit. He's been getting crucified on Twitter by people, the general public, saying, I'm not watching Evo this year because Logan's on it. And I think Mr. Wizard's a dickhead, which I think is outrageous, by the way.
Yeah, that is outrageous.
Mr. Wizard's a dickhead for even hiring that guy in the first place. And they've even gone out of his... They're proper. Well, you thought that was reaching? They went out of their way. Some people went out of their way and said, I can't believe this tournament organizer has gone out of his way to hire a known abuser. Quote. Abuser. Right?
I saw that tweet.
First things first, right? What does it mean? Like, what sort of accusation is that? Like, do you have proof? Secondly, what do you mean by abuse? Yeah. Right? Because there is many forms of abuse, and to just say, "Oh yeah, he's just an abuser," that's slander. That's slander. Inquired by the police about that. Like,
bro, you can get incarcerated. You can get incarcerated for that, bro. If someone said that, if someone phoned the police and said, "Oh, I'm being abused by this person," they wouldn't ask questions. A lot. Was it mental, physical, whatever? They say like, "This guy needs to be turfed off." Like that accusation is ridiculous. Like, I don't. Yeah. For me, if that was the case, something would have happened a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly, right. Now, obviously, like May said, we're not boys with Logan. I've never even really spoken to him before. I don't think May says either, but that's beside the point. Basically, we're not choosing sides here. We're quite neutral in this argument in terms of our benefits out of saying whether it's whether it's in favor or without favor.
Can I make a quick point to prove that? Quick one.
Go on, go ahead.
So one of Logan's escapades was to say that anime players know the taste of their own semen, right? And this was when me and you played Guilty Gear. So we was them guys. We knew the taste of our own semen. Logan said that, and he was on. That was the rampage where he said about anyone that's got like an anime character as their profile pic is fucking gay. He was talking about some girl's self-esteem like being low, like a breast cup or some shit like that. Like he's done some fucked things, like for sure.
He's a savage. He's a
savage. But one thing I'd say, even if you like, obviously now I kind of see that that's just his sense of humor. He's a troll. Like our sense of humor.
He's a troll. Yeah.
Our sense of humor telling people to dead and get dashed under the bus. Like we're joking, and I know that's his type of joking. What I had beef with is like, don't say that to me. When you don't know me, you know what I mean? Like, but I did respect that he didn't say behind closed doors. There weren't shadow tweets. They were out there.
Yeah.
Like,
they were
he said it.
And they were out there public.
Yeah, but he didn't hide it and, like, he wasn't a snake. He was mad open about it. But just to say, like, if anything, we should be for Logan not being there because he said we like the taste of our semen. But,
I mean, I didn't know he said that.
Did you not know he said that? You might have ducked out. Yeah, no, he said anime players.
I thought he said something else about anime players. I thought he said, I thought he said that anime players like children. That's actually what I thought he said. Like,
I think that's worse. I think that's actually worse.
Yeah. Like that is way worse, right? But I wasn't even paying attention. I was like, bro, like if he's gonna go out there and say that, then it's just a joke thing. I'm just not interested, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that was my point. Just to show that we don't
bite the tag. Yeah,
bro,
that's the point. Yeah.
They devoured it, bro. That was Devour Hour, bro. That was Nikali.
Yeah.
Like they took it hook, line, and center. It's like, that's what he wanted. He just wanted reaction out of you, bro.
He wanted reaction. And so that's all been and gone, right? And we don't really, give a shit as players, right? We kind of just moved on. We don't hold grudges, right? And so they've turned around and they said, look, right, Mr. Woods is a piece of shit for hiring this guy, which is outrageous.
Mental.
They've said that we're not going to listen to, we're not going to watch Evo this year, which is, they can do that if they want to be bitches about it. They can do that. And then they've also gone out their way to say that Logan is a known abuser, right? Which is an absolute fuckery, right? That's like on a higher level of scumbaggery. You're looking to see mans get thrown in jail, bruv. That's actually what you're doing by saying things like that, right?
Basically.
Now I can understand if you don't want to listen to Logan commentate, right? There's been loads of commentators in the past that people have not liked over similar accusations, similar to Ski Sonic.
You brought that up before. That's a good point. He got bullied. I don't like throwing that word out, but he got bullied himself.
He got bullied by himself. I think the Ski Sonic. I don't know if this is 100% true, but I did hear he made some weird sexual advances or made sexual comments. I mean, I don't know whether it's advances or comments. It's one of the two, right? But that's what I heard on the grapevine, right? And people didn't really like that. And apparently they didn't like the sound of his voice either, yeah? Even though I thought that he was good on commentary. But that's beside the point. The point that I was going to make is that if you don't like a personality or commentator based on their personality, right? Then just mute the stream and just continue watching with a playlist on. Or alternatively, with a tournament as big as Evo, you just go to a different stream and you watch something else, right?
Yeah.
The fact that you have to feel validated in that you don't want to watch Evo at all, it just kind of shows that you're being a bitch, right? It shows that you're throwing your toys out the pram, if you ask me, right? Just because you haven't gotten your own way. Mm-hmm. Then, with the thing about Mr. Wizard, you've continued to try and throw your toys at the pram by hurting people that aren't even involved, who aren't even really involved, right? It's like bystanders are getting fucked up,
Friendly fire.
It's like, it's friendly fire. It's like Mr. Wizard's, he's put in a lot of work, right? And if he wants to hire a commentator, right, that, a good commentator, and a commentator that isn't going to slander your actual tournament, which Logan would never do. He's not that type of guy. He'd never, even in all the tournaments he's been here, I've never seen him do a bad job in terms of his actual role as a commentator, right? So if you want to hire a guy like Logan because he does a good job I say most of the time, as far as I'm aware, all of the time, yeah, then you should be allowed to hire him. It's your, it's within your right. It's your event. You know what I mean, right? So the fact that he's getting thrown under the bus as well is a joke, right? And then the final point, the fact that people are calling him an abuser, right? It's just so wrong. It's fucking wrong. Like as a human being, you should be disgusted with yourself. Like, to actually go out there, like, you're in the same boat as people who make accusations about any crime, and people get locked up for it. Any crime. Like, you know the story about Shawshank Redemption, where it's like, oh yeah, this guy murdered mans, and now he's gonna get 30 years in prison, safe. Yeah, it's like, but it's like, it's an accusation. You don't have any proof. You know what I mean, right?
It's so stupid.
It's bad. It's really bad. And I think that it's definitely a low point for this tournament. I think that Evo should be a time of year where we celebrate fighting games, right? And we should be rewarded with high-level gameplay and jokes, yeah? And the jokes usually come at the expense of either the commentators being funny or that people getting fucked up. But that's beside the point. I think that the fact that this has been brought up at this type of event is so shit for the community, and I'm happy that it hasn't really hindered the event. It hasn't really hurt anything. Like, it's just a few people that made like some really bad comments, and it hasn't gone out of control. It hasn't been like players are now saying like, they're boycotting the event, or this, that, and the third, because hypothetically speaking, it could have got pretty bad, especially if authorities were involved. So
it is really,
I'm just happy it didn't go south. You know what I mean?
In defense for the person who posted it, I'm not defending them because I want to. I just want to be balanced, right? There's like, when I hear the word abuser, I'm like, you either hit someone or you like mentally torture them.
Yeah.
That's what I see when I see the word abuser. That's what I have in my mind when I hear of an abuser. There is another definition of the word abuse, and that's using something in a bad term. Yeah, I had to look it up to double check. Right. I honestly don't think the person meant it in the first way. Let me get up real quick. One sec.
Yeah, go on.
Because I don't want to put something out there that's not real. But there was definitely the abuser that we think in our head was number 2 on the fucking, not Urban Dictionary. It's like fucking Oxford.
Oxford Dictionary, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put this out there, but I honestly don't think this is what the person meant. A person who uses something to bad effect or for a bad purpose. So the example is notorious abuser of the English language.
Right. Right, that's a stretch.
So
I get you to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a stretch. I don't think they meant it like that. The second example is a person who treats another person or animal cruelly or with violence.
Yeah.
Especially regularly or repeatedly. That's what I heard when I saw that tweet. Yeah. And I think that's what most people heard. That person who posted it might have meant the first way, but I highly doubt it. I highly doubt they would have used that word specifically. Because you could have said, like, he's a bad... They could have just talked about why they don't like him. I've never heard of a story of Logan abusing the knee-jerk reaction to that word. Like, I think it's...
Yeah, especially a single person. Because the term abuse really just boils down to, like, either, like, a very small, confined group, right? Or... one-to-one, right? Like domestic abuse, for example, right? Now, all of Logan's comments, right? He's never atted anyone in particular unless it's particular beef, right? If we're talking about the examples that we're going with, which, there was the one where he got fired for his thing at the BBC, which was like some jokes about women, like it was sexualizing women or something, right?
Yeah.
There was one where he obviously was speaking about the anime stuff, about us drinking is it eating or drinking? I don't even know what it is. Semen.
I wouldn't know what to do with semen. To be fair,
I wouldn't know what.
I don't know how you what you'd already do with semen. No, I'm not an expert on that. I'm sorry.
I haven't investigated, but he spoke about that, and then what else did he even really talk about? Oh, and I think that was basically it, right? And maybe another comment towards anime players, right? But if you were to ask me, right, and I'm not necessarily an anime player. I play all fighting games, but I guess you could say that I'm in that crowd, right? I don't think there has been abuse towards me in any part, and I think Mace would say the same thing.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Like...
So I think the idea that Logan is an abuser of the fighting game community is a joke. It's an absolute joke. And yeah, I think the people who actually went that far to actually say that they should be getting dogged. Like, how people make accusations like that, and then they're the ones who go like reprimanded. Like,
yeah, when you ask them for proof, they're like, well, just trust me, and it's like, go play on the M25, please.
Yeah.
You shouldn't come out with stuff like that unless you've got print screens, at least one print screen. It's so dumb. Because obviously people are going to ask you about it. Like, it's just, like you said before, like, it's just people being entitled to feel like their opinion matters when...
The opinion matters, but at the same time, you have a responsibility as a person weighing in on your opinion to not make any outlandish claims, right? And that is an outlandish claim, right? Now, if you really want to go out your way and say that Mr. Woods is a dickhead and Logan's a dickhead, right? Then you can. I mean, people are going to look at you like you're a dickhead, but you can do that if you really want to, right? But, like, if you're going to go out your way to say that Logan is a known abuser, right? Where that is a claim that could get man's, like, incarcerated or lose his career or anything like that, right? And we're not just talking about one career, we're talking multiple careers. We're talking about careers in the FGC, we're talking about careers in terms of, him being a DJ. This is a lot of shit that's coming under fire here when you call someone an abuser.
Yeah.
And you haven't got the proof to back it up, then you shouldn't be making that a comment in the first place, even if that is your opinion. If you think that Logan's an abuser, then you have to keep that to yourself, because at the end of the day, you could be getting man's thrown into prison for something like that. And at the same time, if you said that, and then he did come under fire, and then Logan challenged it and said, "No, you know what? I'm taking this to court. This guy's chatting shit." Yeah, then you could be going to jail for that. You could be going to jail for that. So
this is the point I remember I made. Like what you're saying about if it was that bad that he was an abuser, for example, if for example Logan abused me, right? Let's say this happened. I'm not telling fucking Mr. Wizard. I'm telling the police. Why am I going to tweet it that someone abused me or I felt like I was being abused? I wouldn't tweet about it. If it was that serious, it would go past tweeting. So to put it on Twitter makes me feel like you're just trying to get fucking followers. Like you're just trying to gain attention by maybe not tarnishing, because like we said, Logan has done some fucking pretty. He said some fucked up stuff. Right.
He said some fucked up shit, man. He said some fucked up shit.
But
some of it's been really funny, but some of it's been funny, bad.
Bro. I think most of it's been funny, unless there was one where that was aimed kind of indirectly at me. But other than that, I get the joke now. People told me what he's like, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And I've seen him in person, because obviously he does When It Stays On, and I'll go for Dragon Ball Z, and he's not telling me to my face that,
he's not abusing you in person.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's just online. People do that. Most people, have an online persona. And for him, he likes catching jokes. He likes getting reactions out of people. That's like what a troll is. And not in a derogatory way. People, people with social media, they like to feel like their voice is being heard. And that's I'm not saying that's what Logan's doing, but I'm saying this is what people are doing in Logan. It's the same thing with like low tier god. Like, people think it's cool to have people agree with them when they say low tier gods, this, that, and the other. And it's like, me personally, this is another thing we can go on about people acting like idiots. When low tier god got put onto E-League.
Oh, yeah.
People bitched about that. I didn't tweet it. I should have. I regret not tweeting it now. I was like, this is the best thing that could happen, because we've all got a bit of low tier god in us. Everyone has. Yeah. He is just a personification or an exaggerated person on how we are as a community. Like that's what it is. Like, again, he's done some fucked up stuff, but personally, I found it funny, and a lot of the stuff he says, there's a lot of truth to it. Like, whether he likes to admit it because it's coming out of his mouth, I see past the persona he has and what he's saying. Like, there was a time where, you know, Brody Legs.
Oh my god,
bro, there was like some beef where he got on his stream and he beat him, and Loti God got angry. Brody Legs said X, Y, and Z, and basically Loti God put a picture of Kang from the Turtles.
Oh my god.
And like, I know, right, look, this is the thing about what people need to understand about comedy. Like, comedy has no like filter. Like, anything goes.
The gloves are off. The gloves are off.
But he made a really good point. It's like, because you're disabled doesn't mean that you can't receive cussing. Like, Brody Legs will dish it out, but because you're disabled, well, I'm not allowed to cuss you, but I have to take it from you. Like, no. And that, to me, was a good point. The same things when he's talking about people, like, he went on a rant about, like, Jessica Negri and all the cosplayers, like, stealing all these young kids' money with what they're doing and stuff. And he's got a point. He just, he articulates it in a way that people don't want to listen, because they're like, oh, you're just that guy that rages online and you're not very good and blah, 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 blah. But when you look past that, just take his words and listen to it and then write it down and read it back. Then it's not coming out of his mouth, and you can be like, oh, okay, I kind of see the point. But
I see,
and he's one of those guys that it's cool to hate him, and it's cool to take the piss out of him, because you know that people are gonna like what you're saying, and it's like gratification for yourself by putting other people down, and it's just like, that's weak, man. Like, if that's how you
it is weak. It's weak.
Get like gratification by cussing other people, go fucking in team mode and get good at a game. Like,
yeah. I mean, the one thing that I will say in terms of stuff like that, where it's like it's going back and forth, the line is obviously drawn when it comes to discrimination. That is like you shouldn't really go across that boundary, because that's when it starts to get really personal.
Yeah.
But like, I think stuff where it's like, oh yeah, you look like what's his name, Krang from the Turtles. I thought, that's like, who gives a shit? He's not actually fucking Krang, is he? Like, come on, man. Like, he's probably he probably chuckled at it himself a little bit,
He
like,
must have.
it's silly. It's so silly to obviously, it's a silly thing to say, and it's funny, right? It's funny. It's like the time when he was playing against Smug and he called him a hammerhead.
Oh my god, that was pretty funny.
Hammerhead looking motherfucker.
It is mad, isn't it? Like,
it's like Smug isn't actually a hammerhead shark, so he's not going to take offense to that. You know what I mean? But if it gets to the point where the discrimination is, towards race or sexuality or anything like that, that's where the line's drawn, and that's when there should be apologies in order. But Logan hasn't done that. Okay, at least from what I've seen, and I think that when I say discrimination of like sexuality and racism, I'm talking like repeated, like, these guys should be deading, or fuck these guys, they should be somewhere else, or like all sorts of like or even to an extent of, oh yes, we shouldn't have the LGBT community at FGC events. He's never said anything like that, ever, right? He's not discriminated. There's no apartheid. There's none of that shit, right? So
if that was the case, no one would go to Wednesdays on.
No one would go Wednesdays on, and he wouldn't have a job, right?
Yeah.
So I think that the fact that this is sort of, that people have gone out their way to say that he's an abuser is just silly. And I think, I think that's that. I think, conclusion, people are retarded.
People have too much, people feel they have too much power because of Twitter and social media. And it's
they feel like they have power, but they can, that power is so great that if they say the wrong things, they're actually going to restrict themselves, and they can restrict themselves for life if they say the wrong things on Twitter, and people need to understand that, because I understand that Twitter is a platform from freedom of speech, but because of that freedom, anyone could look at it, right? Guess what? If you say the wrong things, then that freedom will get taken away from you, and it will hit you like a thunderbolt. You better believe that.
But that's the thing, like, it's a fucked situation, because it is I was about to say it's a circle of life. It's definitely not a circle of life. It's a vicious circle because
vicious
on one
circle.
hand you've got social media, your Twitter. It's your opinion. You can say what you want, but like you said, like low tier God saying man looks like Krang. Like, is that okay? Like he's entitled to his opinion, but is it okay for him to say it? Like that's what I mean. It's a circle, and then obviously then people say things about his opinion or his comment. It's like, but he's allowed to do that, surely, and we can't moan about people jumping onto that. Like there is a middle ground, and just people mind your fucking business and just talk about things that are relevant or important. I don't think.
Yeah, but I also think it's like the thing with a comment like, oh yeah, man's like Krang, yeah. I don't want to keep going back to this because it's so fucked up. But that comment, right? It's like, okay, you have to think about it in the essence of it being reported for an assault or an abuse, right? In this scenario, right? So imagine someone calling the police and being like, oh, this guy called me Krang from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's like, what do you want them to do?
Yeah,
like,
what do you want them to do?
What do you want them to do about it? You know what I mean? Like, if you really feel that badly about, the situation of he called you Krang, then just block him on Twitter. There's an appropriate response to this. Just you block mans on Twitter and you don't speak to him ever again. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what the block button's for. But if it's abuse, that is a different matter entirely, and that should be treated with differently. You know what I mean?
DMing you, if he's posting on more than Twitter, and if it was unwarranted, if man just came out and said, "Oh yeah, I've seen you at a tournament. Here's a picture of fucking TMNT at Greg," right? That would be fucked. It was a back and forth, and in my opinion, when I remember seeing it, it was like you thought you was kind of untouchable because of your disability. And shout out to Brody Legs. I think he's inspired me a lot because it's like, if this guy can do it, no one's got an excuse.
Right.
Like he's doing things constantly. Like he's not letting a disability hinder his performance. He's not like, oh well, I can't do this, so he doesn't go like to a tournament and go, oh, I lost because of X, Y, and Z, which is clearly that you can see. He doesn't do that. He plays like everyone else, and that's the good thing about the FGC. And I think the point that I could be wrong. The point I think that LGT was trying to make was that if you want to be, if we're going to treat everyone equally, you have to take the L's as equally, whether that be through a game or through running your math or anything like that. And I think that was the point he was making when he put that picture up. If it wasn't, I'm sorry, it was still quite funny, but it is bad. It's wrong. But you hear like, look, you can't. There's very few things that you should be offended with in the FGC because of everyone talking about it being grassroots and all that sort of stuff. It's not quote unquote esports. We're all individuals. We can say or do what we like as long as it doesn't, impact someone's life. So you're not allowed to box someone middle of the match because they were playing alpha and they grabbed you like 5 times. You can't box them.
Yeah, you can't box them
anymore. If you go to the hog, Mark might box you.
Yeah.
Or he'll tap you out.
Or if you get a time machine and go 20 years back in time, you might get boxed.
Yeah, but that wasn't right, and that's one of the rules I think are good. But I think this will be our last point because I want to play some Dragon Ball. I want to beat you against you. But the last point is this happened a while ago with Menor RD and.
Oh, did it? I didn't know this.
So Menor RD and Guichi were playing Street Fighter 5.
Oh, didn't he blow him up? Didn't he blow him up? Like one of them blow each other up, right? And then he went on Twitter with a video saying that he's shit.
No. Oh no, it's not that. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna find out what that is. Basically, they played. Menor RD won, but then Guichi was saying like, oh, it was hard to concentrate. I don't think he was making an excuse, but he was just making a point where one of his boys was making bear noise in the background. Like obviously they were hyping up NRD. When Goichi was doing stuff, he was making more noise, trying to like maybe not put him off, but yeah, like he was saying, "Oh, you're shit," blah 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 blah. Heckling. That's what he was doing. He was heckling. But when NRD was doing stuff, he was making bear noise. And my problem with people jumping on this is one: there's no government body for the FGC, and they kind of made it a rule where he couldn't go to a certain amount of tournaments, or people had to keep the decibels low and shit. And I'm like.
It's not a tennis match. It's not a tennis match.
It's not golf. If you want silence, go play golf.
Yeah.
If that's what you want.
Yeah.
But 2, it's the fact that it happened to Goichi. So he's a known player. If this happened to Billy No Mates and people were making noise and he lost, no one would care. If a top player beat him, like it's the fact that this is only being brought to our attention because a top player said it. When it's like, I've been to places where people getting heckled left, right, and centre, but because they've got they ain't got no CPT points, no one cares that they lost because it was like, well, they're probably gonna lose anyway. Like, and I don't think that's right. And to be fair, I think you should hold that, bro. If someone's making noise, as long as they're not shouting directly into your earlobe, right? Firm that shit. Firm it. Go get headphones.
Yeah, just get some headphones. I mean, the thing with FGC tournaments is that unless you're on the main setup, right? Most of these setups have speakers and they don't have headsets, right? And that's just something that comes with the territory. It's grassroots. You know, there's not a lot of money in it. You know, people try the best they can to get, headsets and stuff, but most of these setups will not have, headsets. And there's probably the same for even the big tournaments as well, like EVO and stuff like that. I guarantee you not every setup at EVO is going to have headsets, know?
Yeah, that would be ridiculous if it did.
It'd be ridiculous. You're looking at thousands and thousands of pounds, right? But that's beside the point. Because of that situation that we find ourselves in, right? We have to deal with the atmosphere as much as we have to deal with the actual match and the player, right? And it's up to us as players to block it out in some way, shape, or form, to block it out and just get the job done, right? I've been heckled a bit. I'm gonna keep it real. I've been heckled a bit, but do I think it affected my performance? No, I don't think it affected my performance. I think it's just, part and parcel of the game. Mm-hmm. You get used to it. And you have to get used to it to move forward in an environment like this, So yeah, I think people going out the way to say, oh yeah, I lost because I got heckled on. I think that's just, man's just crying. To be honest, he's just crying about it.
Yeah, like I mean, again, I don't think it was more Goichi being upset, but people jumped on it and were like, oh, this guy should be banned for making so much noise. I wouldn't like if it was done to me, blah, 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 blah.
Well, if it's other people going on there and saying, oh, yeah, this guy should be banned, then it's their mums, because they're not the ones... But just keep real, right? It's their mums, because at the end of the day, right, first of all, they're not even fucking there. They're just sitting there and they obviously watch this match and they feel like that man's got dogged, right? Now, you can feel like man's got dogged, but to say that he should get banned, right, because other people were heckling, that's fucked up, because you're insinuating that he actually told that guy to, it was some sort of plan, and bruv, it's like, clearly, it was his good friends or group of friends that were doing it, right? Mm-hmm. And, he can't control their actions, he's not gonna...
It was one person in particular that was making noise, and they tried to get the person making noise banned, not Menaradi. I think it was Kaba, I think his name was.
Right.
They tried to get him banned for making that much noise.
Oh, get him banned?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay. Well, I still don't think... I mean, I don't know. That's tricky. I don't think he should get banned. I mean, that's a bit extreme. I mean, if you really want to go out there and stop him from doing that stuff in the future, then, you could just say, oh, yeah, you'll have a warning. But I guarantee you he's not going to be the last person to do that. That's just old school tactics, You have hometown heroes that you want to see go really far and win it, right? And you want to stop the outsiders, right? That's just how the story goes in fighting game tournaments, right? And you're not going to be able to stop that, no matter what, right? Unless every setup has headsets and people playing glass fucking houses. Do you know what I mean?
Esports.
Esports. It's not coming anytime soon.
No, I wouldn't want to play in a tournament where we're both in separate booths. I wouldn't want that. And that's the only way to avoid that. But the whole reason I like the FTC is because it's like that. Because it's like, it's not real, but it's in your face. It's not like other sports or esports.
Yeah.
It's like you're in amongst everyone's a player. You don't have to qualify to enter EVO. Like, you just literally, you pull up with however much it is. Say it's like $40. Yeah. You turn up with $40, Daigo turns up with $40. You both get treated the same. That's why I like it. In other sports, you have to qualify to get to the Premiership, or you have to qualify to get into Wimbledon and shit like that. But fighting games aren't like that. Same with like esports, like League of Legends stuff. You've got to be in a team, you have to have a coach, you have to be sponsored, blah 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 blah. But this isn't like that. So when people want those rules for something that they're not, it kind of bugs me. And it's like, you're only wanting these rules because it's affected someone now. If it was that big of a deal, you would have thought that beforehand. Like,
exactly.
There's a few rules. Obviously, don't box anyone. No physical contact. Standard. Obviously, there's no need for it. And double entering a tournament. So putting your name down twice for a tournament. Like, that's obviously shady and dumb. Like, don't do that. But if you, brother, I know CT. I would want CT at my corner every time I had a match, bro, because he'll make the most noise. He would drown out everyone. And what can you do? You can't ban CT from tournaments. He makes tournaments half the time, bro. His noise makes the tournaments.
Yeah. He makes the tournament. Yeah. Exactly.
Like
and the thing is, it's going to affect both players as well, right? It's like, what if your boy said something so funny, you fucking laugh during the middle of the match, and you're fucking up dragon punches because you're laughing?
I've literally had that.
That's actually happened to me. You're not a real fighting games player until someone said something so stupid that you can't concentrate on your match. Like,
absolute, bro. I've got a quick story. You know when we went? Oh, you went right. So I went to CWC in Cairns, and I was playing Nefi and Guilty Gear, and the commentator had free roam of the venue, bro. Like, he had a wireless mic, so he could walk wherever he wanted. Right? We was playing on cabs. We were playing on cabs head to head, and obviously I'm in France against Nefi. Right. So it's me, Tank, and CT and Quartz against the rest of the venue. Right? I was playing Nefi. It was 1-1. The commentator came in my face mid-match and went, "Bun Chichi man." Because Nefi plays Soul and he done Gunflame. I was getting hit by Gunflame. He was like, "Burn, bun," but in a French accent. And he was singing that Bun Chichi man song. And I found it fucking hilarious. Even though I was getting heckled, it was the best match ever played. Ever, in any game. Because the hype of the French players wanting Nefi to win reminded me of why I played games.
Yeah.
The hype is why I like fighting games. And when you start making people go quiet, I'm like, well, I might as well just go play golf. Fuck it. Golf claps. One-handed golf claps. Like,
no, finger clicks.
Fully.
Finger clicks. Yeah.
And to me, like, obviously I can get why people think it's interesting. I'm not saying golf shit, but I like the hype. I make noise. Or I used to make noise. I don't make noise anymore. But I used to make bare noise. If someone else is playing, I make infinite noise. And I'm not trying to put the other person off. I'm just trying to get hurt. I'm trying to be the funny guy.
People just want to get heard. Yeah, people just want to get heard. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, like, it's fuck people trying to make rules. We're basically barbarians. Just stop trying to be something we're not. We're cavemen. Like, we win money due to how much money people put in. Other sports aren't like that. Other sports, they get money from an outside source. Most of the money that we get from winning tournaments are because of the pot monsters that put money in, knowing that they're not going to win. Like, we are super grassroots, so don't try and change the rules. That's the format. Like, you fucking imagine, like, if you play back in the day, cabinets didn't have headphones. You have to fucking film all that noise.
Yeah, it's true. It's just part and parcel of what we do. And we like it.
Yeah, we do, exactly. If you didn't like it, you would have went to that tournament, saw a man making noise and went, my ears aren't ready for this. Let me go play.
You just not come back.
Yeah, let me go play online and stick in a booth. Like, this is what I'm about, bruv. So
it's true.
It's kind of a, I don't want to be a dickhead, but just deal with it. Like,
just got to deal with it.
Yeah, just hold it. Like, stop being a bitch. All that time you've wasted posting on Twitter about why you don't like X, Y, and Z, or I'm not going to Evo because Logan's there, or whatever you're saying. If you spend that time in T mode, you'd be way better. And then you would have a voice. Then people would listen to you. But you're too busy moaning, being a nobody, trying to get people rally behind you, when there's actual issues that we probably should draw your attention, but you're not going to, because it's easier to fucking pinpoint someone like Logan. There's pro players that have done some fucking shady shit. And nothing gets said about it. And it's just
that doesn't make it right, though. It doesn't make it right, though.
Definitely not.
Doesn't make it right, though.
But looking for a scapegoat and aiming at someone else is not also the answer. It's not also.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, you should man up and then talk about those people, innit, instead of looking for a scapegoat and bitching about people getting excited about a fighting game, or their boy winning. Like, fucking go away. Just go away.
Right.
But yeah, that's about. I don't know if you've got anything else you want to say.
Well,
I was thinking about it. We could, if you wanted to, we could talk about how Wolfcrone's an idiot. Do you remember that one?
What thing?
Wolfcrone.
Was he done that?
So versus fighting, right? Shax did really well. You probably heard this, right?
Shit, yeah, I've heard this one. Yeah.
And basically, he beat a ton of top players. Yeah, we're talking legends. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw him beat Sacco. I'm sure I was there when he beat Sacco.
I think he beat Sacco. I think he beat Nemo, didn't he as well? He beat Nemo, right? Or am I thinking of something else?
I don't know. You might have.
Yeah. Basically, he beat a ton of heroes, legends, and Wolfcrone was like, oh, Street Fighter 5 shit, and this guy's proven it for me, because if he was playing any other game, these players would be beating this guy, but because it's Street Fighter 5, he can win. This game's shit. That's basically what he said, right? And basically, he's just crying because his favorite superheroes lost in it, so, he's throwing his toys at the pram, and he looks like a bitch. So that's basically all I wanted to say.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't. I mean, the opinion is whatever. Like, obviously, he can have whatever opinion he wants. But yeah, like, I did kind of briefly scroll through the fucking wall of text they left. I know when I started reading, I thought, oh, okay, Wolfcrone's a Laura player, and Shax was beating people with Laura. So maybe he's got some input into why he was winning. What he got away with that wasn't real, some sort of example to why Shax wouldn't have won. That I would have been like, okay, let me see what you have to say, then I can make an assumption if I want to disagree or agree with it, right? But yeah, like I said, he was just moaning.
He was just moaning for the sake of moaning.
Basically, yeah. And it's just like, that he needs to go fucking swallow a cactus.
He needs to swallow a cactus. And the only reason why he did this, it could be twofold. It could be that one, he's jealous that he's found this success with that character. Yeah. That could be the first reason. Second reason is that heroes got wasted at a versus fighting tournament, right? Yeah. And both reasons make it justified to say that he's a bitch, to be completely honest. Because the first reason, right? Like Mason's been saying, the whole stream, go training mode and do so. Yeah. That's all that has to be said. If Shax can do it, I'm sure Wolfcrone can do it with twice the amount of fighting game experience that Shax has currently had, right? In terms of offline competition, if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Totally.
And then the second thing is that, like, just accept it. Like, people have their good days and they have their bad days. Now, whether this was a good day or bad day isn't the point. Those men lost. Accept it. But no, man wants to turn around and say, "Oh no, this guy's only winning because it's Street Fighter 5. Fuck this game, and fuck that guy for winning." It's just like, why are you throwing your toys at the pram? Stop being a bitch. Get good. The end.
Finn.
Finn. Dot. Finn. Yeah, full stop.
I agree. Like, just stay in your lane, bro. Like, this doesn't affect you in the slightest.
He wasn't even there. It's so fucking silly.
Have your opinion, but stop saying, like, there's no need for people to, even if you look at like a bare bones sort of way where it's just like, stop, why are you cussing Street Fighter 5? Like, just, look, you played it's not your thing anymore, stop playing it. It's the way he's articulating it. It's just long. It's like...
It's not even that. Like, he can have the opinion that Shax is shit, but I'll just turn around and have the opinion that he's a bitch. Like, I think that's pretty justified. I think that's pretty fair. If he was to turn around and say, "Oh yeah, Shax is only winning because he's Street Fighter 5," because he's playing Street Fighter 5, then I guess if he really wants to go out there and say that, he can do. But then people will just turn around and they'll just say, "Oh, you're a salty bitch." So, he has to hold that. I think that's all I wanted to add.
Oh yeah, no, that is a valid point. That's fair enough. Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Oh, I've also got a quick side story, and it's not necessarily that this guy is like an absolute waste man. It's just that, like, he's a bit of a waste man. Yeah. So right. And I think you'll find this funny because we've been trying to get him to change his ways for a while. But Inferno Kong, KOF player, he recently got sponsored by Rise, right? It's been doing well in the tournament scene for that game. He's known for playing very large characters, larger than life characters, right?
Indeed.
And he's mostly known for his Antonov. He's the only Antonov player that I'm aware of that's actually placing, consecutively high in tournaments, right? Despite what I've said, he continues to play the character. And that's good because, he's been trying to prove me wrong. And I guess he kind of has for the most part. And basically recently, he's actually, he's finally turned around and said, oh, you know what? I'm going to play Yamazaki for a bit because I think the character's easier to play. So after all this time of all of us telling him to think about playing other big characters that are actually good, this took us over a year for him to do this, to make this decision.
Wow.
He's actually turned around and actually did it now. So, it's better late than never, but just because it took over a year to make this decision, and it was only really made because people were telling him to do this in the first place, like consecutively telling him to do it, like hassling him to do it for his own benefit. The guy's a waste man. That's it. That's all I wanted to add.
Wow, you sound like one of those people that we've just been talking about, bro.
Yeah, no, no,
I'm joking. I mean, we all do it. Like, we bitch about it, but we all do it. I'm just trying to not do it as much, or aim it at people that I know because I know that it's just jokes, and it's just and it's just
for me and Harry, it is jokes because he has openly said that he's not dropping Antonov for Yamazaki. He's dropping someone else for Yamazaki, right? Which is like the complete opposite of what he should be doing. But
totally.
We digress. Yeah, we digress. He's an advocate for Antonov. Yeah. So the fact that he has decided to try and buff his tournament game with this character is good because it will help. Because I don't know if you noticed, I don't know if you watch KOF, but these players that plays consistently high in tournaments, they have several characters that they use, not just 3. They have like 4, 5, 6 characters that they use, right? And they have that just so that they can use that just to adjust the gameplay. Because deep down, in terms of the actual system, the characters are really easy to pick up if you know how to play KOF. It's the KOF system itself that takes a while to actually learn. And Harry's been playing 14 for a while now, and 14 plays a bit differently to other KOFs in terms of some of the rules. But now that he's understood them, he should be branching out and trying to pick other characters because it will only help him. But he's been very stone-headed about this approach. He said, no, I want to win with these 3 characters and only these 3 characters, right?
Yeah.
Even though you probably don't know this, we're in a meta at the moment which greatly inhibits 2 of his main characters, which is more than half his team, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that he's finally made this decision is good, but he should have done it sooner. And because he didn't do it sooner, he's a bitch. But, aside from that, it's all good.
It sounds it. It sounds like you're very happy for him.
I am actually happy
for him.
Boy. I'm a true friend.
The truest of friends.
He actually did what I told him to do 2 years ago. So it's all good.
Big up to him. Better late than ever, innit? I guess.
Better late than ever. Right. That's all I have to add. Anything else you want to add?
Nah. I'm down for some Dragon Ball, innit?
Okay, let's play Dragon Ball.
Cool. Alright then, so that's the fucking rant done. Big rant tank over. Episode 2. Shoutouts to 10 for helping me get angry. As always,
yes.
He does that. He's good at that.
Out. I'm pretty good at it.
That is your quirk.
Yeah.
That's definitely
that's my superpower.
Yeah, fully. But until next time, guys. Take it easy.
Safe.
Laters.